On July 30th, 2025, Beijing experienced one of the most severe floods in over a decade. A relentless series of torrential downpours from July 28th to July 30th nearly brought the city to a complete standstill. Rainfall in some districts reached 573.5 millimeters, a record figure, enough to transform bustling streets into raging rivers, isolate entire neighborhoods, and expose deep-rooted weaknesses in the capital's infrastructure and emergency response systems. In northern districts such as Mentegu and Yangqing, the mountainous terrain became a massive funnel, channeling all the rainfall into low-lying areas. Within just a few hours, torrents of floodwater swept away everything in their path. Drainage systems were quickly overwhelmed, river levels surged suddenly, and flash floods struck with devastating force. Entire roadways were destroyed, numerous bridges collapsed, and public transportation came to a halt. In low-lying neighborhoods, water rose to shoulder height within hours, submerging vehicles, while road foundations were eroded and washed away. The power grid in more than 130 villages failed due to floodwaters and landslides, leaving thousands of households without electricity or communication, completely cut off from the outside world. Rescue teams faced immense challenges in reaching stranded residents. Roads were washed out, bridges destroyed, and muddy terrain rendered wheeled vehicles useless. Most alarming, the Miyun Reservoir, Beijing's main water source, rose to its highest level since 1959. Authorities were forced to initiate emergency discharge operations, adding further pressure to already overwhelmed river channels. Secondary reservoirs and storm basins proved largely ineffective, revealing the fragility of Beijing's aging flood control infrastructure. In inner districts such as Haidian, Xishan, and Chengping, essential infrastructure suffered widespread damage. Subway lines were suspended, tunnels were flooded, and many residential blocks lost both water supply and heating. New suburban developments with poorly built drainage systems quickly turned into lakes. Manhole covers burst open as dirty water spewed onto the streets. At major intersections, floodwater gushed from subway ventilation shafts, carrying mud and debris into the heart of the city. Logistics and supply chains were severely disrupted. Warehouses on the city's outskirts reported inventory losses and structural collapses caused by flooding. Agricultural fields in Pinggu and Huairu were completely submerged. Local food markets immediately saw prices of vegetables and staple goods soar due to blocked transport routes. At evacuation centers, thousands of displaced residents crowded into schools and gymnasiums, but supplies of food and clean water were quickly overwhelmed. In the city's northeast, the Zhongguancun business and technology hub suffered heavily. Offices and server rooms lost power, and many buildings were evacuated as a precaution. Telecommunications providers scrambled to restore service, yet in some areas, internet outages lasted for more than 48 hours. In industrial parks across Tongzhou and Yizhuang, production lines ground to a halt as machinery was damaged by floodwater. Key highways, including the Beijing-Changchun Expressway, were forced to shut down for more than 2 consecutive days due to severe flooding and landslides. The historic floods of July 2025 serve as a stark warning for Beijing. Experts argue that the city's rapid urban expansion, relying heavily on vertical development and widespread land conversion, has eroded critical natural drainage systems such as wetlands, floodplains, and low-lying basins. Amid increasingly volatile climate conditions, without strong reforms in infrastructure and environmental management policies, disasters of this scale, or even worse, may occur with growing frequency.
Nature doesn't send us warnings, but we can. Floods, earthquakes, wildfires, and storms are striking harder and faster than ever before. By subscribing, you are not just watching, you are joining a movement to stay alert, stay informed, and helps others to do the same. Hit the subscribe now because the next disaster won't wait, and neither should you. Be ready and be aware.